So my robot is the Atlas Scout. Just to walk you through a couple of the parts that we have here, I have two DC motors, which are representing the all-terrain tread. I have two force sensors, which are going to represent the handles for the gearboxes on either side. And on the front here, I have a micro servo, which is representing basically the hose on the front that's going to be spraying back and forth, this area in front of it. Back here, this is just a simple slide switch, which represents the hose input. It's just verifying that we do have hose input. Over here, I have an IR sensor, which is attached to this remote, and just allowing us to get input when we push the buttons to get input into the Arduino. And then I also have a battery here, which is providing power. So just to start the simulation, just to show you 0 through 6, those ones are going to be controlling these motors. So if you can see, when I press 1, 2, and 3, it's going to make them go forward. So 2 gives both of these a positive value, so they're both motors are going forwards. It's going forward straight. 1 is going to make it go forward and to the left. So see how this one's turning off, and this one has a positive value, so it's pushing it forward to the left. And then 3 going forward and to the right, so it's turning this motor off, and this one has a positive value. It's turning it, it's going to pivot to the right. 4, 5, and 6 are kind of the same thing, except they're going backwards. So 5 is going to have, both of these are going to have a negative value. 4 backwards and to the left, so this one is turning off. And then 6 backwards and to the right. So same type of thing, this motor's off, and this one has a negative value, it's moving backwards. And then 0 just turns both motors off. And then 7, 8, and 9. The idea here is that the fire team, right, who can see the fire, is going to establish a fire score between 1 and 3, and then press a button between 7 and 9. So 7 being 1, 8 being 2, and 9 being 3. So if they press 8 or 9, giving it a fire score of either 2 or 3, first thing that's going to be sent to the other robots. And then it's also going to activate this hose here, which first is going to verify that there is input back here, and then it's also activating the hose. So if I press 8 here, because there is input back here, it's activating the hose. It's going to go back and forth to spray the area in front of it, and it's also printing on here fire rating 2, which is representing it sending it to the other robots. If I press 9, the same thing's going to happen because it has a fire score of 3, which is greater than 2, and both of those values will cause it to spray in front of it and to send information to the other robots. And then just to demonstrate the force sensors here, so the idea with these is that they provide a fail-safe because a really big purpose for this robot is that it's able to traverse any terrain. So it can go through trees, it's going to be going over rocks, it's going to be traversing really difficult terrain. And so we don't want the gearboxes on either side to be opening on their own. So basically, the algorithm requires there to be 2 separate registers of it being pulled. So if I pull it once, it's going to print to the serial monitor, it's going to register handle has been pulled 1 time, but it's not going to open it. If I pull it a second time, it's going to register handle has been pulled 2 times, compartment opened. So it's basically just making sure that if it's pulled on 1 time by accident, it's not going to be opening. But if it's pulled on a second time, then the likelihood is the fire team is needing something from inside that compartment. So same thing, pulled 2 times, compartment opened. And that is most of the functionality that I can simulate. And then just to scroll through my code really quick. So that's the setup. We have the switch cases for the remote. So 0 through 6 are controlling the motors. 7 through 9 are establishing a fire score. And then on the end here, we have the force sensor, which is requiring it to be pulled 2 times